shifting gears now. You've done a lot of charity work and volunteering outside of wrestling. Tell me about some of the organizations you've worked with.
Yeah, so I am uh my other job, if you will. I'm a therapist. So I've worked really hard. That's my second baby. I've worked really, really hard to get where I am with that. Um, there is a kind of youth mental health crisis going on, and it's been bad for a long time, but the pandemic just really exacerbated all
Oh,
of the
sure.
struggle
Mm-hmm.
that teens and were going through. So I previously did volunteer work for a organization that did free therapy for ages 12 through 20. Um, that was an age group I'm very passionate about working with. Um,
Mm-hmm.
being a middle schooler, high schooler, young adult is hard, let alone in an age of social media, let alone in the age of a pandemic. So my heart's kind of with them and being able to give back to that um, in that way.
Yeah, I mean, COVID hit hard, and just everything went out the window. Like so many people were fired from their jobs, got furloughed, and people were just anxious about what the world was going to be like with everything shut down. So there was a lot of uncertainty going on at that time.
For sure.
Especially, amongst kids where, they're not taking everything in. A lot of them went to online learning, and especially for high school students too, seniors you know didn't get the traditional graduation that you would expect or would think that they would get. So that's a lot they've got to take in. So kudos to you for being able to be out there and help somebody out when they need it, because that's just it's never easy. That's the one thing I've kind of learned with the pandemic is to take life one day at a time and enjoy it. Never take it for granted. So it's just so devastating, what what happened.
Yeah. And like just being teens and like the voice of their friends, peers, both good and bad, is like who they listen to. So you kind of rip that away. What happens to their social development? And we're seeing the impacts of that um, even now. Um, suicide and suicidality kind of really skyrocketed with that age group too. So being able to learn more about that and be able to support them, yeah,
Mm, I
it's a
mean,
huge need, and I think
it
it'll be needs for years to come.
yeah, you just never know what somebody's going through in their life. And I know that depression was also a big uh factor as well.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's like I think we were. It was in a time when like it's like you're thinking March 2020. We were like all getting pulled from work, getting being at home, whatever the quarantine was, and in real time trying to figure out what the impacts would be. And it was really like our routine got pulled out from underneath us. The rug got pulled out from underneath us, and the impact that has on like mood and just overall well-being, where it was very prominent. And like I said, we're still seeing the fallout 3 years on.
When did you start working with this organization? Was this at the start of the pandemic?
No, I had been with them before. I want to say 2019, sometime in 2019.
Okay. So roughly about a year or so, a little less than a year maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, unbelievable that so many people were going through that. And shocking to say the least.
Yes. Yeah. I think it, like I said, there was issues going on before with like teen mental health and just like the age we're living in, particularly like social media, the impacts of social media and constantly being on 24/7 for like a developing brain. And then add in COVID-19, and yeah, it was a whole new ball game.
Do you feel like in today's, developments, in today's state of everything, do you feel that the social media problem has gotten worse?
Um, yes. In a simple, short answer, yes. We know now like the impacts, particularly um, like Instagram on like the well-being of young girls. They're particularly hit hard in regards to like body images, and like what they're supposed to be compared to like these highlight reels that people are putting out. Um, that's not reality in any sense, but they compare themselves. Um, so that is a particular age demographic that's been hit the
Mm.
hardest. And now I think so I was on TikTok, but it was like a total time suck, so I had to like get off. But the misinformation that gets spread about mental health, I'm so appreciative that like we're talking about it more. Um, and destigmatizing it and all of that. And there's a lot of like misinformation out there. So